So Beyond Pyro is to the fantastic reaches beyond Stanton and Pyro. Join us as we explore the exciting new frontiers of Star Citizen's persistent universe. There's already been speculated. We're looking at like Nyx, who was it? A Flying Wombat. Nyx and Eden systems. Odin, you mean? I know Nyx has been worked on. I know Odin has been worked on. I don't know of any system called Eden. No, this is not the 1.0 talk. 1.0 talk is actually on day 2. I think if we get Sol, Earth will be all types of fucked up. I think they'll pull a star field and go, yeah, Earth got fucked up and now it's just a barren wasteland. I think it's confident to say everybody is saying Nyx. Like, Nyx is definitely a system that they're going to bring. They've already done Levski. They're just going to do updates to it. Nyx as a system is not that complex in comparison to Pyro and Stanton. There's a couple of planets, a massive asteroid belt, and then I think it's like 5 jump points. They should pull a BSG and say the AI took over and now run away. Yeah. Good old Delamar and Levski brings back memories. I was actually looking at the Arc star map a while ago, trying to, speculate on other systems that they could do. And what I was looking for was like the low hanging fruit. So we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into this segment. So we're going to go to Stanton. Now, the star map controls are very clunky, right? Very surprising for a game like Star Citizen. This is Stanton. It still doesn't accurately reflect what we have in game yet. If we were looking at Stanton, it would be from this perspective. So this is as close as you're going to get to the representation of the Star Citizen map that we have in game. Pyro is actually further down here. Magnus is actually up here. Terra is actually over here, right? Microtech should actually be roughly over here. Hurston's in its correct position. Actually, Hurston should be down here. Crusader should be pretty much opposite. Corp isn't far off of where it should be. It should probably be just a little bit further up here. We're getting Pyro, so if we come here, we go through the jump point. Ooh-wee. Now, when we get to Pyro, we have several different systems. And Pyro is kind of like a gateway system to different systems that you can go to. So you've obviously got the Pyro to Stanton jump point, but there's numerous other systems. So you got Nyx, which we're all confident that we're going to get. Isn't it dumb that Pyro is lawless as a gateway system? Kind of. It's a very large system that has very little benefit other than it being a gateway system, right? And from a military perspective, from a strategic perspective, you don't try and defend everything. You just try and defend key points of interest, and whatever territory that's remaining in between, you kind of just leave open, and that's your room to maneuver. Kind of the same deal here. You only worry about the systems that you want to protect that have resources and large populations within that government system. Pyro, unfortunately, is a huge system with very little resources at the scale that the UEE wants, and that's the premise behind why Pyro is left as lawless, right? And Lever, it's funny that you would mention that. It would be nice to have a third system that can only be accessed through Pyro, because Nyx is actually one of those systems. We've got several different systems here that we can access. Now, we'll take a look at Nyx. This is Nyx here. There's really not much to it, right? You've got 2, 3 planets. You got 1 asteroid belt around the outside. You got 1 asteroid belt on the inside. You got Lamar, which it says planet, but it's actually a planetoid. So this system is actually, quite, in comparison to like Stanton and Pyro, this system is relatively simple to build out. It really comes down to what CIG wants to put in there. But there's another reason why I brought up this system, is that it's connected to Odin. Odin's supposed to be where a lot of Squadron 42 happens. So it's possible that we'll get access to Odin as well, eventually. Like, Odin will be one of the systems that we'll be able to go to. But if you have a look, like, there's several different systems that we can access. Virgil, Tohil, Astra, Bremen. Now, Virgil, I believe all the systems that start with V are actually in control by the Vandal. So the Vandal have invaded those systems and they're in control of it. But this is Nyx. It's relatively simple. We go back to Pyro though. Oso and Castra connects to Nyx as well. So we could potentially get Castra. Adrian, I believe, is a military system. Oso's a protected system. So it's under UEE control, but it's protected because it's got an emerging intelligent species. I don't think we'll see CIG do much there. But let's go back to Stanton, because there's only 3 systems that you can jump to from Stanton, right? Pyro, Terra, Magnus. Terra is like the Earth equivalent. It's like the second capital of the UEE. high military system, that would be Terra. Although Magnus could be considered that too. But if you have a look at Magnus, Magnus is actually quite simple as well. And it has one star, one planet in the terrestrial position, or green zone. So we could see Magnus actually being utilized. That's the, according to this, I don't know how up to date it is, but this is apparently the home system of Drake. But look at this, like there's 3 planets with Magnus. No visible asteroid belts, although they may actually do. They'll probably throw some things in there. The other thing about Magnus is it connects to Terra. So Stanton connects to Terra, Pyro connect to Terra? Let's go to Terra and find out. But it also connects to Ellis, and I believe Ellis is a system where they do the, I think they do races there. See what I'm getting at though? Like we've got assets already built out from certain systems that could be incorporated into the star map or into the PU. If we go to Terra, Terra is going to be the high sec. But you look at Terra, there's actually quite a lot going on, and there's going to be even more, right? So you've got Magnus, Stanton, and Pyro. So Terra does make a lot of sense in terms of a system that you would go to, or that CIG could build out. It's just going to require a lot more time and attention. It's got different bases, different planets, asteroid fields that are being mapped out, things like that. The main planet, there it is, Terra, is a super Earth, pretty much Earth 2.0. And they can structure it however the hell they want it to be too. Whereas on Earth, like, they've got to make it look a specific way, which is why I think CIG may be less inclined to include Earth and just say it suffered a disaster, it's under Vandal control. Terra is kind of like a gateway system too. Because if you have a look, we're still zoomed in pretty closely. There's additional systems that you can jump to. So Tayak, Tyrannus, Goss, the Law of Squadron 43, Save Soul, yes. SOS, Save Our Soul. So the way I'm seeing it is that we've got Stanton, we've got Pyro, Magnus in my mind is a candidate, Terra is a candidate, Nyx is 100% going to be done. From a development perspective, Terra is a big task. Like I would put this on par with as being as big as, in terms of gameplay space, would probably be similar to what Pyro is. But in terms of complexity with factions and planets and habitation and all that sort of thing, it would be along the same lines as what Stanton is. But then we increase the complexity because it's supposed to be high sec. So if this was part of the first 5 systems that we're supposed to get, we would probably get Terra last. So we've got Stanton, we're getting Pyro. I think Magnus and Nyx would be the 2 next systems. So that would take us, Nyx would be system 3, Magnus system 4, Terra system 5. And the way I see it is that they would do Nyx and Magnus at the same time. Because what that gives us the ability to do is we have a loop. So we'd be able to go from, if we started in Stanton, for example, so we go Stanton. Now we have 2 choices if we go to Stanton. But let's say we go to Pyro. So we go Stanton to Pyro. We get to Pyro and we're like, all right, we want to go to Nyx. So we go to Nyx. We pick something up and now we got to go to Levski. Drop in at Delamar, drop the stuff off. No, my plan failed. My plan fell through. Nyx is a dead end. I'd have to go... No, I thought Magnus was here. Alright, new plan. We're going back to Pyro. I hope you guys understand what I'm getting at though. So we're back in Pyro. So we're going Stanton, Pyro. We'd have to have Terra. We'd have to have Terra to have a complete loop. Although we could go like Oso. Because you could come to Pyro. So Pyro could have a loop with Nyx, and Oso I think is quite sparsely populated as well in terms of assets. So a few more planets. So this is a system that has the emerging species. 6 planets. Pyro has access to the system. You got Callus. Should be a jump point to Nyx. Stanton, Terra, Magnus, and Oso. But I'm not crazy. I saw a jump point in Nyx that came to Oso, right? You guys saw that too. And yet I do not see a jump point from Oso to Nyx. D1 to Castra. Castra. A big fucking blue sun. And not much else. Ascom. Originally settled as a forward military base and training facility, Castra 2 was cleared for civilian habitation after the collapse of the Mesa era. Okay. So 2 planet system with a big blue star. Several, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump points. But this has a loop now. Okay, so Castra actually may be a candidate. This is what I mean though, like potentially like we're still speculating way too much into it. CIG could change all the jump point layouts if they wanted to, right? But you have a loop here. You go Pyro, Castra to Nyx, because you might have business on either of these 2 planets or whatever points of interest that are there. Oso, if they decide to do that, I don't know, because of the level of complexity behind having the semi-intelligence species there. and the additional planets. Because I'm looking at like something that they can bang out in like, I would say a month. I can see them doing this in a month. This planet used to be ex-military training base in FOB. Now it's cleared for civilian use, so it's probably going to be like a frontier-based system. Big blue star, cool point of interest for people to look at. Castra 1, what's this? Probably just some shitty... First planet lacks any atmosphere or any raw materials worth mining. UE, Navy, stationed in the system, use the dead world for bombing runs, earn the nickname Bullseye. Like a nothing planet. I reckon they could bang this out in a month. You just have the different jump points positioned here with, you know, maybe stations around the different jump points. So Castra is definitely a candidate. Going from Pyro to Castra to Nyx, I could definitely see that. That's what I mean. Like a lot of people keep sitting there saying, oh, CIG is not going to get the 100 systems done. And it's like, not a lot of these systems have a lot going in it. Like if you compare it to Stanton, a lot of the systems like this is nothing. It really comes down to how much time and effort that they want to put into that system. Pyro has a lot going on. Stanton has a lot going on. But you still want to create systems that don't have that much going on to create, like, you know, as Tony's been talking about, like that expansive area. The other thing as well is like Castra could be considered a candidate for base building too. Because it's got that planet that's been cleared for civilian use, it may have a lot of space there. And there's not much else going on, so players building out on that planet, why not? So that's the star map there. I'm going to make a prediction that I reckon we'll see Nyx 100% is going to be talked about. Magnus is a potential. Castra is a potential. Terra is a potential. Terra because of the contrasts like high sec, high population system. Castra and Magnus. Castra because you can bang it out quickly. Magnus because it does have a planetary body there. Ship manufacturer is supposed to be there, and it's a relatively easy system to build out. Like it's 3 planets. Castra is 2 planets. Oso maybe because it's supposed to be a system that's under the protection of the UEE, so nobody's supposed to be building shit there. Imagine not all the planets going to be accessible either, so that'll cut development time down a bunch. Yeah, well, like gas giants, like unless you got a reason to go down to them, there's no reason why you'd visit them. Like they did mention collecting fuel from gas giants, but like you just need to get into the atmosphere. And CIG hasn't talked about like any sort of traveling methods beyond quantum boosting. So you quantum travel to the planet or to the gas giant, boost down, you're in the atmosphere, and then scoop up all the fuel that you can and then boost out. But unless there was like floating points of interest, kind of like what we have on Crusader, I don't see any reason why you'd be doing anything more at that planet. But then it could have moons that you could land on. And that's the thing though, is like the idea behind landing on a planet or landing on any sort of terrestrial body may be just one of those situations where it's like, well, there's no known habitations on it, so let's build a base there. Let's build a little fob there, you know, that we can stage from to go out and do piracy ops and things like that, right? That's kind of what we're missing in a lot of what we have in Star Citizen is like, as Tony was pointing out, the expansiveness of space and being able to like plot your own course, scope out some land, put down your little homestead, build a little player town, player city, and then live out your life as a bloody space peasant, eking out a existence on the frontier or something like that. 5 systems. We've got Stanton. We're getting Pyro. I reckon Nyx is number 3. And then 4 and 5 is a toss-up between Magnus, Castra, and Terra. Any one of those 3 could end up being 4 and 5. Oso may also get in there. Who knows? CIG does, and we'll find out when they talk about it in Beyond Pyro.